Jake Paul has truly become the internet's #1 villain, and the only person he has to thank for that is himself. After successfully winning against two celebrities who are not actual fighters, his confidence resulted in the problematic YouTuber calling more people out to fight him. However, in addition to the professional fighters who said they wanted to beat up Jake Paul, we also have a few more sports celebrities wishing to toss their hat in the ring as well. I'm gonna get into all the prospective fighters in a moment, but first, if you could do us a big favor, please smash that like button. We'd really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's begin the top 10 celebrities that want to fight Jake Paul. Coming in number 10, Dylan Dennis. Jake Paul made some waves on the internet when he decided to challenge Conor McGregor to a fight. However, when he didn't get an immediate response, he went for the next best thing: Conor's close friend and training partner Dylan Dennis. Dylan, however, is not a fighter to take lightly. He has 3 years on Paul, and he already fights for the Bellator welterweight division. After Jake Paul's last win, he started this little spat by simply saying, "There's a long list of opponents that I want: Conor McGregor, Dylan Dennis. I'm going to knock them both out." And if you recall, these two even had a bizarre run-in that turned ugly when Jake drove by an interview that Dylan was doing and launched water balloons at him before driving away. When nothing came about from this incident though, and Conor McGregor refused to fight him, Jake took aim at UFC president Dana White, saying, "Done talking about the situation, it's getting annoying. Bottom line is Dana White is afraid to let someone from the UFC lose to me and embarrass his company." Coming in number 9, Claressa Shields. The pound-for-pound women's boxing legend Claressa Shields is far from impressed by Jake Paul's antics and also made it clear that she would easily beat him up. Shields so far remains undefeated in professional boxing and has won world titles at 3 different weights. Plus, she unified 2 of those divisions and is also set to debut in mixed martial arts later this year. When speaking to media outlets about the recent YouTubers getting into boxing, she said that the Pauls do not respect the hard work that goes into fighting, saying in a statement, "I like when the older fighters come back, like Roy Jones versus Mike Tyson. I think Jake Paul and his brother are more like clown shows, to be honest. But they're making money, they're using their platforms, but it's not real boxing." She then goes on to challenge Jake Paul, saying, "No one's ever mentioned an exhibition to me because they know I do real fights. I would whoop Jake Paul's ass though, just because he thinks boxing is easy. I saw him do an interview recently where he said YouTube is harder than boxing. What? Being a YouTube star is harder than being a boxer? He said something about posting to YouTube for 800 days straight. Big whoop, you posted a video. Do you understand what it takes to become a boxing world champion? I have trained more than 800 days. Putting up a video for one, it's free." I mean, she's not wrong. Coming in number 8, Amanda Nunes. Now, reflecting back to a moment when Jake called out Dana White, it wasn't too long after that he suggested Amanda Nunes knock some sense into the YouTuber. After getting tired of Paul's McGregor callouts, Dana said to TMZ Sports, "I'm thinking of letting Amanda Nunes knock his out." To which Amanda replied, "I'm in." Jake Paul would later scoff at this offer on Instagram again, saying, "You say you don't want me to fight Conor McGregor because he's one of the greatest fighters in the world and I'm just a YouTuber or whatever. But then in a statement today you say, oh, I'm thinking about having Amanda Nunes just knock him out, but she's also one of the greatest fighters." I mean, at least he acknowledged that she's one of UFC's greatest fighters, but if Amanda can knock out Cyborg in less than a minute, then Jake Paul could be dealt with blindfolded. Coming in number 7, Henry Cejudo. Henry shocked UFC fans when he announced his retirement from the sport back in May, but even with that departure, it seems as though he is still up for boxing. After Jake Paul's knockout win over Nate Robinson, Cejudo claimed he would give his entire fight purse to charity if Paul was able to beat him. In a tweet he said, "Yo Jake Paul, since you really think you're a legit fighter by beating up on a retired NBA D-listers who really deserves an Academy Award for best fall." Okay, first of all, that is crazy shade, but let's go back to his tweet. "How about we fight, and if I can't stop you, I'll give all money to the charity of your choice. Hashtag don't be scared, homie." Then shortly after getting no response, he tweeted out again saying, "I'll give you props, Jake Paul. While I was collecting gold medals and UFC belts, you were collecting followers. That's nice. They can all follow you to the hospital after I break your face." I would not want to get into a Twitter war with like an MMA fighter. That is terrifying. Coming up next in at number 6, Antonio Tarver. After that Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson fight, a lot of celebrities online decided that they were more than worthy of deserving a chance to redeem Nate. Although Antonio Tarver hasn't fought since 2015, he too cited that he would come out of retirement to knock out any new age outsiders who think they can step into the squared circle. On Instagram, Antonio even called upon Mike Tyson to get the ball rolling. In the caption of his post, he says, "I really want to kick Jake Paul's ass for what he did to Nate Robinson last night and rid boxing of these clowns once and for all. He fought a complete novice, so fighting me shouldn't be a problem. Mike Tyson, make this fight." The 52-year-old former light heavyweight title holder also told TMZ Sports, "If you want to get some legitimacy in the game, fight somebody with a name," adding, "I want to fight him because I want to show him there are levels to this." Coming in at number 5, Le'Veon Bell. In addition to retired fighters that wanted to take a swing at Jake Paul, we also had Kansas City Chiefs running back Le'Veon Bell, who posted some videos of himself doing boxing training. The Twitter account called Overtime shared the video and pondered in a tweet if Bell could take on Jake. In the tweet they said, "Every time I see an athlete in the ring now, I just think, could they beat Jake Paul? Y'all think Le'Veon Bell could do it?" To which Bell promptly responded saying, "Like I said, set it up." Guarantee if Bell was able to land some hits though in this fight, it would be much harder than whatever Nate Robinson was able to throw. The power that it takes to play in the NFL alone is just a different set of training, and one that could probably make this a very interesting bout if it were to happen. Coming in number 4, Evander Kane. Speaking of people that like dropping the gloves, NHL player Evander Kane also weighed in on wanting to fight with YouTuber Jake Paul. Kane, who currently plays for the San Jose Sharks as a left winger, is best known for being part of Canada's gold medal winning team at the 2009 World Juniors. After Jake shocked the internet and knocked out Nate Robinson during the Mike Tyson vs. Roy Jones Jr. pay-per-view, Evander Kane quickly jumped on Twitter to challenge Jake Paul. In a tweet he said, "Geez, maybe I should take on Jake Paul next." However, according to reports online, Evander filed for bankruptcy nearly 2 months after he called out Jake Paul, so I'm sure he was assuming this would just be a good payday for him, because after getting no response, he challenged the YouTuber yet again, saying, "Yo Jake Paul, I'd wreck ya. Easy to beat up guys with no experience and much smaller. August 31st, 2021, Vegas, we can see if you really about that action. Hashtag your move." The NHL player did eventually get a response, but it was from Logan Paul, who said that he would be more than willing to fight Kane and knock him out. Coming in number 3, Anthony Ogogo. All Elite Wrestling star Anthony Ogogo has also called out YouTuber Jake Paul shortly after his victory over Nate Robinson. For those of you who don't know, Anthony is a former professional boxer that represented Great Britain during the 2012 Olympic Games in London. He challenged Paul in a tweet and said, "Jake Paul, I heard you think you're a real boxer. LOL, I'd knock you out and I only have one good eye. 10 times British champ, junior Olympic champ, junior world champ, European medals aplenty, Olympic medal. Let me know when you want to play with the big boys." Anthony has a boxing record of 11 wins out of 12 fights, with 7 of them ending in a knockout. Although he had retired from boxing in 2019 at the age of 30 because he was blinded in one eye, as he mentioned earlier. So not sure how good of an idea it would be for him to try and box again after that, but we'll see. Coming in number 2, Nate Diaz. Among the many professional fighters that Jake was bold enough to challenge, he actually claimed that his team were in talks with the UFC fighter camp to set something up with Nate Diaz. Now Nate Diaz is definitely someone you do not want to mess with, and because he is so blunt with his response, excuse us for needing to censor this tweet to make it more PG. In a tweet responding to the younger Paul brother, Nate Diaz said, "Jake Paul, you need your ass beat for free, you spoiled You can't really fight, dumb shit. You're gonna end up with your ass whooped for real somewhere talking like that." It's gonna be a lot of beeps, I'm sorry guys. Although when pressed further about whether or not he would take on the YouTuber, Nate replied, "Nah, not at the moment, but at some point for sure." Last but certainly not least, coming in at our number 1 spot, Ben Askren. Now out of all the potential fighters, Ben Askren is the only one that was able to actually set up a real fight date. Jake Paul is scheduled to box the former MMA fighter Ben Askren on April 17, 2021. Ben even appeared on Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast to chat about his chances in the ring with the YouTuber. Askren took the opportunity to detail why he thinks Jake isn't that good. He said on the show, "With something like this, like wrestling, MMA, whatever it is, there's the skill of whatever you're doing, and then there's the skill of being a competitor. And you know he's only fought 2 times against guys who weren't really that high level, and so his skill as a combat athlete isn't that high yet." He then went on to say, "He beat up a YouTuber and a basketball player who likely has never been in any type of fight in his entire life. What about that makes him good? Really though?" Either way, I guess we will find out on April 17th. With that though, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled "Jake Paul accused by TikToker for inappropriate behavior." Sparkle Lee says, "Brave girl, the internet can be vicious, and I'm proud to hear another victim of SA stand up to let her story and voice be heard. Most definitely, it can be a very terrifying thing to come forward with accusations, so let's just wait until more evidence comes out, and like I said in that video, believe the victim in this scenario, because it's Jake Paul she's accusing." Tozik says, "I don't know how he's not in jail when he's been accused of so many things. He's got a lot of stands, and he's probably got a lot of really good lawyers, but I am equally confused." Save Carter says, "Thank you guys for reporting on it. Hopefully more people will be aware of consent and to signing such contracts." Yeah, that was the main takeaway that I wanted from that video, is that just because you sign one of these NDAs if you're going to a famous YouTuber's place, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's legally binding. Before They Were Famous says, "You guys fast. Thanks, we learned from the best." Ash HB says, "Please keep reporting on these problematic influencers. My heart broke when I heard this." We definitely will keep bringing you news about any problematic influencers we find. But either way, that has been today's video guys. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy YouTube.